All right, hey there everybody. I'm gonna tie a new fly for you here. I've been kind of experimenting with this one, and for those of you that I've watched a bunch of my videos, you know I love to fish the dry dropper. So of course, as you get down to smaller flies, 16s, 18s, they're not buoyant enough to suspend anything. So I came across this stuff, and it's 1 millimeter, so really thin olive sheet foam. And so I find that I can cut it really, really thin and use it for body materials, and it doesn't look too bulky. So I'm going to tie for you today what I'm going to call the blue wing foam olive. So I'm going to have to make it with a foam body, and can't wait to kind of try this out next season and see how it works. So we're starting off with olive 70 denier ultra. So let's get that started on here. Whoop. And for those of you who are following me on Instagram, you know that I spent some of my Christmas holiday repurposing a bunch of my flies. I stripped all the stuff off of them so I could use the hooks over again. So this is one of my recycled hooks. So I am literally being green. Oh, that's terrible. But yeah, so it's a green fly because I'm using all my stuff over again. All right, so our next step is we got to put our wing post material on, and that is just going to be this kind of whitish cream colored poly yarn. Works real good for parachute posts. I want a fairly good chunk of it, so maybe something like that. All right, so we got a good bunch there and make a nice kind of bushy parachute post. Come back up to the front. Obviously that's where you tie it in. All right, so we cut it back there in a bit of a taper. And you don't have to worry too much about tapering the rest of the body here, because when you put the foam on, it's going to hide most of it anyway. I say that, and then what do I go and do? I go and make sure I have a decent taper, so that part I'll leave up to you. All right, so now I gotta get the ramp up in front of my parachute post here so it'll stand up for me. And there we go. Make a few wraps around there. Okay, the next thing we want to do is put our hackle on. So I have this really light olive hackle, and it's really nice stuff. Just has really strong barbs, and yeah, really like this stuff. So we'll give it a brush cut here to prep it. Oop. Okay, and then we'll tie it on. I always like to tie it on in the front and then take it around the post after that. And it doesn't get in the way too much while you're doing the rest of the fly. I mean, a little bit, but nothing terrible. All right, so now I'm going to work my way back to the back of the fly here, where I'm going to tie on my tails. And you can use, basically you can use hackle fibers, you can use microfibbets, but if any of you watched any of my tying videos before, my favorite tail material is horsehair. I just have some kind of clear or whitish stuff. I read once that they used to use this stuff for leaders, like way back when. So it's pretty strong stuff. It's stiff, and it's got these nice curves to it that really help the tails go the direction I want. So we'll start out here. The closer side tail on. Right. And then I just flip it over so the curve goes the other way and tie the tail on the other side. Nice thing about that horsetail here is you can really, it's somewhat pliable too. All right, so we got a pretty big splay there in the tail, which is good. Okay, so next thing is we need our ribbing material. And what I use for my ribbing material is this yellow, hot yellow ultra wire. It's in size Brassie, but I mean, obviously you can go smaller than that. Just to give us the segmentation. All right, so we got that tied in there. And now we'll put on our foam. Now, so that I don't get too fat of a back end here, I'm going to just make my tie-in just a little bit. Just taper it a little bit. So, got a little bit of a point there. All right, and then we're going to move up, all the way up. Okay, now with this, I have found this 1mm stuff is a little bit fragile, so you do have to be a bit careful when you're making your wraps because you do have to pull it, because you want it to be tight. You want the body to be small as possible. I mean, in the end, this isn't going to be any fatter than a dubbed body. It's just going to be smoother. And, well, hopefully a bit more buoyant. And then I go right past the post. Actually, there we go. And then I just tie that down really, really hard. Crowded the eye a little bit here, but shouldn't be too bad. Okay, next we're going to bring the ribbing up, and that's counter wrapped. Really become a big fan of this whole counter wrapping thing. Really does seem to hold materials on a lot better. Okay, I should be able to helicopter that off. Now you can see it on the top a little bit because I have kind of gone around, but the fish don't see the top of the fly, so it doesn't matter too much. All right, so now we've got all the materials to kind of secured down. Now we'll pull our hackle around. It's a fairly heavily hackled fly, so I go around several times, like so. And then just make sure we don't trap too many of those. Whoa! And there's why you should use hackle pliers. I say that, and then I just go right back to what I was doing. All right. Don't let go of it this time. Whoop! There I hit the camera, making sure I didn't let go of it. Sorry about that. Okay. On these small flies, it really helps to have small scissors. I've got these really small pointy ones for tying super small flies. All right, so we've got it hackled. Got the post sticking up pretty good. Now we got to finish it off, and I can't get a whip finish tool in there, so I use the half hitch. Most of my small flies I use a half hitch on. Trapped a few hackle fibers there. I think we'll still be okay though. All right. So there we have it. Let's cut that off. And there we have it. So there's our foam olive. You can see the segmentation's pretty good all the way around. Nice long tails that are splayed out and a nice visible parachute post. So I don't know. I haven't tried it yet. I'm hoping it's going to work well this next season. But certainly I'm hoping to be able to suspend like a zebra midge or maybe a small Batis nymph from that, because it should be buoyant enough to hold it with the foam. Obviously it's not going to be suspending like a stonefly or anything, but it should be able to suspend at least a small dropper, I hope. Thanks for watching, everybody.